Hello, my name is Joe Roberts, and I'm a software engineer at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Today, I will be demonstrating examples of remote in-situ data ingestion as part of the CEOS Ocean Variables Enabling Research and Applications for GEO project, or coverage. So, coverage obtains data from a variety of nodes scattered around the world. In this demonstration, I will be accessing animal telemetry data from IMOS and CSIRO in Australia. So the first step is to simply identify sample datasets from remote servers. So we're going to be tapping into GeoServer services that are provided by the IMOS Australian Ocean Data Network and CSIRO Oceans and Atmosphere. Next, we'll run ingest scripts for each of the data providers to actually ingest the data into our local database. And then we'll verify that the data has actually been ingested into the Postgres database. Next, we'll index the data into Solr, which will enable fast searching of the data. And finally, we'll view data on a map client. So as part of step one, I'm going to open up a web browser. And I'm going to go to the AODN GeoServer, and I've filtered for the data that I want to ingest into our system. So for the sake of demonstration, a lot of these examples will already sort of be pre-baked just to make things go a little faster. So normally, if I want to access this data, I would have to pull down this entire CSV file, which is about 1 gigabyte in size, and select the parts of the data that we want, and then basically translate that and then import it into our database. But what we've done is develop a script that will automatically tap into this GeoServer and pull down the specific tagging data that we want. So I'm going to clear this view. And I've developed two scripts, one to ingest data for AODN and another to ingest data from CSIRO. And to see how these scripts work, we can run the help command. And you'll see here that we basically just need to provide the database information, the device ID that we're interested in and want to ingest. And we can also set a limit to how many rows to process, just mostly for testing purposes. So before I run the script, I'll go back and talk about the data from CSIRO. So in their GeoServer, they've already formatted their data to match the format of our materialized views. So this makes it easier to do a bulk ingestion of all of their data into our database. So this data looks like this. This is the tabular view, which if we were to compare to the data from IMOS, it's formatted completely different. So there are some transformation steps that our script will automatically take in order to translate this data to match the format of our database. So I'm going to go back to the terminal and copy and paste this command. So this will run the AODN ingest command. It will look for this specific device ID, and it's going to connect to our local database, which is named taghost, as the tag-based user, and is running on port 9001. So I'm going to run the command. It'll ask for a password, and you can see here that it executed the necessary SQL statements to insert all of the data into our database. So for the other script, to ingest the CSIRO data, we can take a look at the help command, and it's pretty similar. Since we're doing a bulk ingest, it doesn't have an option for a device ID. So we really just provide the database connection information, and it'll pull the data from the CSIRO GeoServer and ingest that into our database. So run the script, enter the password, and it'll do the ingestion. So we can take a look at the database. I'm going to open up pgadmin, and we can see here, I'm looking at the titles view, which basically shows a list of all the tracks available in tag host, all the tags I should say. So we can see that this new tag has been ingested, and I can take a look at, I've already run this query, but this shows that within the tabular data view, that all the data values has actually been ingested into the database. And similarly for the CSIRO data, you can see that the data has been imported into the database. And there's only two tags here, one for white shark and another for a southern bluefin tuna. And looking at the tabular view, we also see that the data has been ingested. So now the next step that we want to do is go to our Solr server and index all the data so that we can search for this data really fast with a web service. So I could run this data import. All I would need to do is just hit execute, and it'll fetch and re-index all the data. I've done that already earlier, so normally after this completes, we would be able to go run a query to make sure that the data is actually within the Solr index. So I can search for the specific device for that seal tag that we saw earlier. And you see here that the data has been indexed, and it'll come up if I run a web service similar to this, or a query, a web query, return the data. So our mapping client does something similar, where it'll request various tags to get their data and make it viewable within the mapping client. So I'll actually go to our data viewer, and these are the newly ingested data sets. So there's the southern bluefin tuna, which you see here, the white shark, and the seal tag. And it's also available for charting, so if I zoom into the seal, maybe I'll change colors here to make it a little more visible. And you can see the track off the coast of Antarctica. I can go to charting, select the seal, and make a plot here to actually view the data. And there you go. You can see that the seal has been swimming in pretty cold waters, as you would expect off the coast of Antarctica. And that's it. That concludes my demo for today. Thank you very much.